All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Marathon Digital Holdings, stock ticker MARA. They put out their monthly operational report for the month of April yesterday after the market closed. So I'm going to go through that operational report. I want to talk about Marathon in general. We're going to go through a bunch of charts and graphs, and you're going to see on some of these, Marathon is in absolute first place. But unfortunately, on some of these other charts, Marathon is at or near last place. So they need to balance these things out. We need to see what each one of these means. And I'm going to tell you where I think they're going from here. We will also look at the charts at the end and talk about some potential price targets. And I'll let you know what I'm doing with this position, if anything. Okay, so if we start out by taking a look at Marathon, they're trading at $9.33 as I speak in the middle of the trading day today. That puts them at about a $1.56 billion market cap. So this makes them the second largest market cap of all the publicly traded Bitcoin miners in North America, second to Riot. However, to put it in a historical perspective, if we take a look at their market cap over the last 2 years, this was a $7.5 billion market cap company in November of 2021. That's when Bitcoin hit its all-time high of $69,000. So since then, the stock price is down. We will look at the charts later. The stock price is down dramatically, and you can see the market cap is down dramatically. They've lost $6 billion worth of market cap since then. So as we look at the price charts later, we'll keep that in mind. Let's go to the actual press release. YouTube revenue has been down drastically in the year 2023. So if you want to support the channel and help me do this on a daily basis, you can become a member of the channel. It's only $5 per month. You can become a member by hitting the join button. It's right next to the subscribe button. Members have a bunch of members-only content already sitting there waiting for them. In addition to that, we have a members-only Discord that you can connect to that I'm active on a daily basis. Also, we have a members-only live stream every Tuesday after the market closes. The members get to pick a company for me to do a deep dive video on. So there's a lot of benefits, and it's only $5 a month. And like I said, it does help support the channel. So I want to thank all the existing members and welcome any new members. Okay, Marathon Digital Holdings. This was put out May 2nd last night. So update. Marathon Digital Holdings announces Bitcoin production and mining operations update for April 2023. Increased operational hash rate 22% to 14 exahash per second. And installed hash rate 16% to 17.9 exahash per second in April of 2023. So you're going to see in certain of these categories, Marathon is starting to pull away into first place. Produced 702 Bitcoin in April of 2023 and 2,896 Bitcoin year to date. So that puts them in first place for the month of April. That 702, believe it or not, is first place for the month of April. It's actually way down off of their March numbers, which was 825. So Marathon was also first in the month of March. I think there's a very good chance that could be the case for all 12 months of the year this year. But they're going to have to work at that because there's a couple that are very close behind that will be giving them some competition. Okay, reported unrestricted cash and cash equivalents, $123.5 million. We'll look at their balance sheet quickly later. That's a very strong position. And increased unrestricted Bitcoin holdings of 11,568 Bitcoin. That equals about $319 million as of April 30th. So you can see they have about $450 million in liquidity. This is a very, very strong balance sheet. Okay, in April, we increased our operational hash rate to 14 exahash, achieving 61% of our 23 exahash goal. And we increased our installed hash rate to 17.9 exahash, reaching 78% of the same goal. So they have said for quite some time now, they have a plan put in place. They have the purchase orders put in place. They've already bought the machines to get to 23 exahash. So they're inching towards that number. I will tell you, in 2022, you can go back and watch my monthly operational deep dives, and you will see I was very skeptical of Marathon last year, and not in a negative way, just rightfully so. They were falling very, very short of their plans. They kept saying they were going to do one thing, and then in reality, they would perform significantly less than that. This year, they're starting to turn that around. They still say they're going to get to 23 exahash by the middle of 2023. I find that hard to believe when you see where they're at right now, but that ultimate goal of 23 exahash does seem more and more realistic in the year 2023. So we'll see whether they get there in the middle of 2023 or closer to the end of 2023, or if there's going to be another disappointment like there was last year, and this takes even longer than we think. So that's one of the big factors with Marathon going forward. Can they ramp up the way it looks like they're starting to? The progress they've made in 2023 is significantly more already than the progress they made all year in 2022. So that quote was from Fred Thiel, Marathon's chairman and CEO. Okay, this is Marathon's production by month. In April of 22, they produced 299 Bitcoin. They got all the way down to 72 Bitcoin produced in the month of July, so they got very near to shutting down their entire operations, and to an extent they did, because they were in a facility at the beginning of the year that used coal. They closed that facility. There was several months where they had very, very minimal production. They're going to have to ramp up their operations as they're talking about, because Riot has some massive ramp up coming. CleanSpark has some massive ramp up coming. So both of those are in striking distance right now. So it is possible, if Marathon has a misstep, it's possible one or both of those companies could pass them up in any given month. So that will be an interesting race to watch for the rest of the year. Here's their chart summarizing their operations for the month. So this is figure 1, operational highlights. So all things considered, I would have expected more than 702 in the month of April. Having said that, it is going to be first place out of all the Bitcoin miners. All the Bitcoin miners struggled in April to keep up with their March numbers. I'm not sure any of them are going to beat the month of March. So far, everybody who's reported has not been able to match their March numbers, and that is largely because there was a big difficulty increase at the end of March and then 2 more in April, so the difficulty level did go up. That is one of the factors. For Marathon, I'm going to show you there's more factors than that. This was underperformance, even though it is first place. And I'm going to tell you why right now. Operational energized hash rate, 14 exahash. So last year they were at 3.9. So, they've gone from approximately 4 to 14 over the course of a year. Most of that's been in the year 2023. Installed hash rate is 17.9. Now, a lot of that's not operational. That's the difference between operational hash rate and installed hash rate. So they are on the way to 23 exahash, and that's what they're trying to show you here. A lot of these machines are set up, but they're not yet energized and exahashing. At 14 exahash operational and 702 Bitcoin, if you do the math roughly, that's about 50 Bitcoin per exahash. So if I go back and look at March, this was what everybody did in March as far as Bitcoin produced per exahash. You can see Bitfarms and Hive have been tied for first place a couple of months in a row. Marathon has been in the lower third of the pack for most of the last year plus. So they were at 72 Bitcoin mined per month in the month of March, and that was low. You can see the leaders were up here at 90. Well, this 72 has now turned into 50. So you can see last month that would have basically been tied for last place. I suspect it's going to be somewhere around that this month. So that's why I'm saying in certain categories they are in first place and with a chance to stay there all year, but in other categories like mining efficiency, they're at or near last place. So if they could improve their mining efficiency, they may start to run away with these numbers. They should be releasing their first quarter 2023 financial statements in the next couple of weeks, and I would like to take a deep dive, and hopefully management's discussion is going to talk more about this efficiency level. It's obvious they're still getting up and running, they're still going through growing pains, and understandably they are growing at an extremely fast pace, but can they catch up to that and become more competitive in this mining efficiency number? If so, then they're almost a lock to have first place in Bitcoin mined every month for the rest of the year. Another area I'm going to be looking at to see if they can improve on is cost per Bitcoin. So I have their cost calculated. This is from everybody's December 31st, 2022 financial statements. So I calculated their cost at around $21,000 per Bitcoin. That is their direct costs, not including depreciation. So I will tell you, I've seen numbers as low as 17,000. I've seen some others up in the 20,000. So, give or take, everybody has a different way of calculating this. It's very difficult to glean these numbers from the financial statements. But either which way you slice it, they were among the highest cost, direct cost per Bitcoin out of all the Bitcoin miners in the fourth quarter of 2022. If they can increase their efficiency and get their costs down to this 13 or 14,000 area, then they stand to make an awful lot of money in 2023. They're going to be cash flow positive, and they will have earnings in the year if they can do those two things. So those are the main things I'm going to be looking for when they release the first quarter earnings and as we get monthly operational updates each month for the rest of the year. You can see lastly they give figure 2. This is some financial highlights. We talked about this. They have $123 million in cash and cash equivalents as of April 30th. So that's up from the end of the year. They have 11,568 Bitcoin. That's about $320 million worth of Bitcoin at the price as of April 30th. I'm just going to quickly look at their balance sheet because this is actually now better than it was December 31st. But even as of December 31st, they had $277 million of current assets. We now know that's more like $450 million currently, against only $26 million in current liabilities. So they're at a 10-to-1, and it's probably much better than that even at this point. So they have one of the best current ratios of any of the Bitcoin mining companies in the industry. Very, very strong balance sheet. They do have $700 million of debt, but almost all of that debt is convertible debt at 1% interest. So they're set up in a very good way here. Okay, having said all that, let's take a look at their charts and see what's going on. All right, this is Marathon on the one-day time frames. So off of their lows, they're still up 207% right now, even though they have pulled back in the last few weeks. At one point, they were up over 300% off of their lows. Remember, this is in a 3 or 4 month period of time. Okay, so this is one of the companies that has done well. They are above where they were in February of 2023. Bitcoin was at about 25,000. Bitcoin's now more like 29,000. Relatively speaking, they're among the better performers out of all the Bitcoin mining companies. Also, they are the second largest by market cap. Bitcoin hit $25,000 in August of 2022, and we're now above that, closer to $29,000. Yet you'll see Marathon needs to go up almost 100%, almost a double, just to get back to where they were in August of 2022. And if you remember looking at our monthly production reports, in June, July, August of 2022, their production was almost shut down. They got as low as 72 Bitcoin produced in the month. I think that was in June. So they've tripled or quadrupled their production since then. They have seriously increased their exahash since then. They're a very strong financial company. They are still lagging behind Riot in performance on the year this year, and their market cap is lagging behind. So I will tell you, those two companies tend to flip-flop as far as which one's the largest market cap. They have very different business models, although they're both Bitcoin miners, so fundamentally they're doing the same thing, but in very different ways. So I will tell you, I had a much bigger position in Riot, and I did move some of my Riot over the last month over to Marathon because I'm expecting them to catch up. So, of course, this is not financial advice. I'm letting you guys know what I did with this position. I see a potential double here. I think that that is a very realistic price target for the year 2023. You know, if things go well, they could go much higher than this. However, we have to look at the downside as well because you can see if we start to revisit our lows, just 4 months ago, Marathon was down about 67% from where it is right now. In my personal opinion, the range is about 100% to the upside, about 67% to the downside. I think the upside's more likely, but of course that is my opinion. So please do your own due diligence. Review this carefully. All these Bitcoin miners are highly volatile. If you made it this far in the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.